I headlined a video last week, early on, with what I call a four-wheeler surprise. We've all had it happen. So, I'll tell you more about that video, and I'll tell you some thoughts that suddenly occurred to me. Since there's so many types of drivers out there, let's figure out what's the difference between a good driver and a bad driver. Coming up on Media Matters.
From Truckin City headquarters and our mobile studios, deep in the heart of Truckin Today, a Media Matters podcast for truckers today. Talking news, your host, Boss Man.
Howdy ho from the great state of North Carolina. I'm inching ever so much closer to home. I'm delivering in Hickory, delivering in Hickory, North Carolina, first thing in the morning. Floor-loaded tires, gotta love it. Chat me up if you've done tires before, but boy, oh boy, you stink. Anyway, so we are sitting here, and I am munching. Please forgive me. I don't normally do that in front of the audience, but I'm hungry. It's been one of them days. It's been a long week. It's been a long, hard, tired, drawn out. Well, if you're a trucker, you know. So, like I said earlier, a minute ago, whenever, I think a lot while I'm driving. I do some of my best thinking while I'm driving, actually, now that I think about it. And, from time to time, it actually helps. It's how I like to think I stay a good driver. Anyway, this is Media Matters. I'm glad you guys joined me. This is a continuing effort to keep the trucking industry going and keep the media at bay. I welcome you. I thank you. Be kind enough to go down there and hit the like button. I'll ask for the subscriptions later because a lot of times you gotta watch a guy before you really want to do that mess. Anyway, I welcome you to YouTube's newest forum for debating issues. I frequently choose to do this because I find it's easier than watching a news channel that spits out the same garbage every night. I handpick select stories where the press is deficient, they lack perspective, and mostly they lack the skill to do anything other than quote off the AP wire. Or they're just plain out bought out by George Soros. Anyway, I put them up here. I put up a viewpoint or a part of a viewpoint. And I let you either prove them wrong or prove me right. Either way, it's interesting, it's a time killer, and it's a hell of a fight. So, glad you're able to be with us. Thank you for joining us. If you're joining us on YouTube, on the replay, go down below, hit the subscribe button. Because lo and behold, you have found the motherlode of good trucking podcasts that are designed to give you a voice. That's what we do here. I'm all about the truth in broadcasting. Because hell, CNN, MSNBC, Fox, all the rest of them, they're paid for. They're bought and sold before you even turn the channel on. So forget them. Stick with me, kid. We'll go places. So, as far as good driver versus bad driver, let me tell you what actually paints the picture for the purpose of the discussion. I frequent the roads all across this country. And what happens frequently as I do it is I'm constantly met with people that are more in a hurry to get where they want to go than they are for letting the truck driver over into the lane, merge onto a ramp, do their job, whatever the case is. You know, just tonight coming up 85, leaving Atlanta, coming up 85 toward Hickory. And most common thing I see out here drives me nuts is other semi-truck drivers approaching, I couldn't write the script, honestly, approaching a construction site. I mean, balls to the wall. He's moving. And what's he doing? Texting on the phone. That's why you got the thumbnail the way it is, because that's what I witnessed. That picture ain't what it was, but it represents the picture I witnessed. Okay? Coming up on a construction site, going from 4 lanes down to 2, this yahoo's on the freaking phone, and he's acting all surprised when a 4-wheeler cuts in front of him from the left. Normally, we complain when that happens, when we're paying attention. But this yahoo's on the phone. I'm in the far right lane, of course. And he damn near cuts me off trying to deal with the situation he should have been paying attention to begin with. So that's one of the things that got me thinking, okay, I've got to bring my panel of usuals on and entertain a discussion with you, the audience, about what makes a good driver and what makes a bad one a bad one. And I don't mean just cut across the board, truckers only. No, I intend to invite the 4-wheelers into this conversation. Lo and behold, our first guest, the lovely and talented Mrs. Ballspan. How are you doing?
Hi, honey. I'm good.
Now, I bring you in because you have a rather unique perspective. Not just because you're my wife and I drive truck and you hear me bitch about things. No. You have a rather unique perspective because on several occasions, you have gone on overnight trips and you have gone long distances in your car. And yet, okay, we'll dismiss the fact that you live with a trucker, that you've been around, all that kind of stuff. Despite that conversation, despite that fact, tell me what your thoughts are about the difference of good drivers versus bad drivers.
Well, the bad drivers are just horrible. I mean, case in point, like you said, the last couple of months I've had to go up to New York to take care of my mom. And the number of people that just whip in front of truckers, you know, cars, trucks, you name it, they just right in front of you guys.
Mhm.
And I'm like, they don't stop on a dime.
Mhm.
Do you need to be shown how big 3 football fields are? Because that's what it takes for them to stop. I mean,
Right.
it's just, it blows my mind how many drivers are on the road that I feel shouldn't be on the road or
Mhm.
need to be, to go
Retrained at the
back
very
and
least.
be retrained. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you're driving a vehicle that has no feelings, no emotions, nothing. Can take anybody's life in a blink of an eye. And you're
Right.
sitting there on your phone, you're doing your makeup, you're whatever.
Mhm.
And just whip in front of even, cars whipping in front of other cars. I can't tell you
Mhm.
how many times I'm thankful I'm one that pays attention.
Right.
Because I can't tell you how many times on those long trips,
Mhm.
going up to New York and back, cars
Mhm.
just whipping in front of me.
Right.
And I'm
How
going,
often? No, I was going to ask, how often have you run into other rigs that seem to drive poorly or because as the banner below you says, what makes a good trucker? What is a good trucker like?
Believe
I mean,
it
how
or
often do you
not,
run into problems? Yeah.
believe it or not, I saw more good truckers on the road on those trips than I did bad. Yes, there
Well,
were
that's
some, but I saw more good ones than
good.
bad.
Right. Well, that's good to know.
You know,
If you're in the
it
audience, if you're in the audience and want to weigh in on this conversation, I invite a phone call. Call our studio line, 860-785-3547. We are not going to be on the full hour tonight. We are going to be cutting it a little bit short. I will be coming in live on Frontlines tomorrow, but be warned, that show will most likely, just as a disclaimer, most likely be slightly delayed. I have an 8:30 delivery this tomorrow morning, and it's probably going to take a while to unload. So if you follow my normal schedule on 11 o'clock on Saturday, I may post a little bit later than normal on the show, and I may start it a little later. So I figured I'd let you know now. If you're normal, you follow me, you're with me now, you're in the audience, it may be a little bit late. So that being said, um, not to cut you off, dear, but again, we don't have,
much
but
time. I know.
our normal time. So, got another guest backstage coming to you live from the sticks of Oklahoma, the grumpy old trucker himself. How you doing tonight, grumpy old man?
Man, I'm doing good. And I thought you was getting ready to bring me on because you called me beautiful. And I was like, all of a sudden I see that beautiful lady. I'm like, so much for that.
You're starting to get the same head as somebody else in our audience tonight, and he knows who he is too. He's so far remained silent on this whole thing. Anyway,
Yeah.
so I mean, in terms of the question of what makes a good trucker, um, what are your thoughts there, old man? Get on your perch, talk
Well,
about how bad people are.
I'm going to tell you right now, a good trucker, in my aspect of thinking, is somebody who is very professional, that takes the time and has the courtesy and the ability to put up with stuff that they don't really like, but they tolerate it. And just like when she was talking a while ago about going down the highway, and then what you also touched on base with cutting off and not paying attention. That's stuff that us professionals have to pay attention to. If we don't, we wind up in an accident. And who do they usually blame? Us truck drivers, whether it was our fault or not, until proven innocent.
What would be, in your mind, probably one of the single best times that you've seen somebody act with exceptional professionalism? What would that be? What would that time frame or scenario look like?
Are we talking about as far as a
In
professional
in
truck
your
driver, or
past,
are we talking about a
in
four
your
wheeler?
yeah, in truck driver in your past. Sorry, I didn't delineate that. I'm sorry.
Well, kind of what I'd say on that would be, the last few years,
Mhm.
um, I've actually ran across some that are very professional, like myself, that even though we don't like what we see, we take our time and we're professionals. I mean, that's what we are, and even the law sees us that way. That's why when we're involved in accidents, they immediately try to blame us before they blame whoever else was involved until we're
Mhm.
proven innocent.
Yeah, yeah. What about cars? What do you think? Any situations you've encountered ever come to mind?
Well, I'd have to say on four wheelers, it's a touchy, real subject there because you got your newbies that are just starting out driving and don't really pay much attention. And nowadays, it's even worse since we have all these devices and everybody's playing and fiddling with them. Used to, it was like you'd see the ladies going down and they'd be doing makeup in the rear view mirror and stuff. Now, now you see everybody
Yeah,
looking down, and that's even
yeah,
worse because at least when ladies were doing their makeup, at least they were able to kind of see forward.
yeah,
But now you're
yeah,
looking down at a device, you can't see forward. You're seeing straight down.
yeah. I actually gave you an opportunity and you failed to grasp it.
I did. Shame on me.
Yeah. Yes, you failed to grasp it because, as I recall, one of your first videos, one
Oh,
of the ones I actually highlighted on our first video. Do you know the video I'm talking about?
yeah, my soapbox.
Okay. Yeah, your soapbox. You failed to jump on it. And do you know what? The first thing I thought of when I encountered Mr. Bozo with the phone? Your video. I thought of your video and I thought this was perfect for you. And you just let it slip right on by.
Shame on me. Well,
Shame on you. Yeah.
that
Yeah.
to really watch that one, people really need to come over and check out, scroll down through there and look at videos, and they'll find it. But let me
Yeah.
tell you, it's a
Definitely
good story.
definitely put that in your YouTube channel because that video deserves to be on your YouTube channel.
Once I
Speaking
figure
of
out
which,
how
you'll
to get
find
it
him. Yeah,
down for my group.
yeah. Um, do that. And audience, please check out Grumpy Old Trucker on YouTube. Check him out on Facebook. He's got a lot of stuff coming up. He's definitely doing some amazing work with that channel. Um, saying good evening to my daughter in the audience. God bless you. Thank you for joining us tonight. Dear, when it
Hi,
comes down to, yeah, thank you. When it comes down to exceptionally poor skills, what in your mind is the worst situation you've ever run across in the many trips that you've taken to New York?
the worst one I've witnessed. Hmm. There were so many.
Do, do, do,
No.
do, do, do,
Oh,
do,
you're
do, do,
hysterical.
do.
You're hysterical. Um,
Seriously, think about
I
it.
would have to say there was this one in a BMW. He
Right,
was about 20 something years old. He had to have been doing 90, and he was just whipping in and out of traffic in front of trucks, cars, you name it. He was just,
mhm,
and this was like on 95, the worst road you could do it on.
right,
And I'm like, dude, what is your problem? And I would like try and pass him, not that I was doing 90, no, but like, and I could, if I could get away from him, I would move over and like he'd catch up to
right.
me and he'd do it again to me. And I'm like, dude, what is your problem?
Hmm.
It's like,
Right.
it's ridiculous,
Mm.
Maybe
you
he just
know.
hadn't seen
Yeah,
such a
yeah.
beautiful young lady.
Well, thank you. But yeah, it's like he's whipping in and out of traffic doing like 90. I'm going,
Hmm.
dude, you're going to cause an accident. Stop.
Right.
But
One of the one of the most common problems I see, which I think really needs to be addressed, is when it comes to the move over laws. Move over laws in most states, I think, are now being beefed up. But as they currently exist, the move over law basically says that when you have an emergency vehicle on the shoulder, by that description, by the way, an emergency vehicle consists of police car, ambulance crew or paramedic, fire truck, roadside assistance vehicles, which you see them all the time, and tow trucks. And let me tell you another thing that a lot of people often fight and bicker about is that they don't realize that tow trucks are considered technically an emergency vehicle. I'll be in the right lane approaching an accident scene. Of course, you got all the stuff up top, the front. Everybody stopped, rubbernecking, doing the whole thing. And the amount of rigs that actually pull off half on the shoulder, half off the shoulder. And I'll give them credit. They're thinking, okay, why is all these people going on the shoulder? Blah, blah, blah. But what they don't realize they're doing is they're playing traffic cop and they're also playing God. Because the moment they're over their half on the shoulder, okay, in my opinion, they're effectively practicing poor driving skills. Because what happens is, what's going to happen is the tow truck driver is going to go up the right-hand shoulder. And he's going to want to get past us to get the wreck we're held up by out of the road. And your stupid, family friendly, your stupid butt is over there on the shoulder blocking this guy. And everybody gets uptight. You can hear it on CB all the time. Oh, he ain't no emergency vehicle. He ain't got no right to be there. Dude, he is as much an emergency vehicle as the rest of us are. If we have red lights, blue lights, doesn't matter. He's got beacon lights, and he has authority to be in an accident scene. Moreover, you. So move over. Don't block the shoulder. By all means, give a man at least a lane or two. I mean, come on. What say you, Frank? What do you think?
I'll add to that real quick. I've worn many hats, as you all know. I once drove tow truck. It is a very dangerous job.
Mhm.
And let me tell you, what boss man there is telling is the truth. It is very, very bad for anybody to get over on that shoulder unless they absolutely have to block us, because that's way whenever, like, I had to go out on the turnpike to pick up wrecks and stuff. We had to travel down through there, and as tight as it is to get down through there because there's a lot of guardrails and everything. So yes, all emergency vehicles of any kind, and some states are actually trying to push the issue of anybody, even trucks or cars that are sitting on the side of the highway that are with their emergency flashers on, they want you to move over and get by them. So they're beefing it up more, just like Boss Man was saying.
Yeah. They certainly are. We are going to be live for about another probably 10, 15 minutes. If you want to join the conversation, call the studio line, 860-785-3547, 860-785-3547. When it comes to moving over, I typically, in addition to moving over, I typically slow down. I don't hit the gas when I'm approaching police on the side. You see it all the time. Lawman's got somebody pulled over on the shoulder, and it amazes me how many times I'll do that, and the people on the right or the people on your left either A, don't want to let you over, or B, when you do, they act like you just committed a felony in front of them, and they're giving you the bird, the lights, the attitude, you name it. I mean, when you encounter that one, Mrs. Bossman, what thoughts go through your mind? I mean, other than the usual cussing and swearing that you normally do.
Well, when I'm like on the major highway and I see emergency vehicles, just like you, I slow down and I pull over.
Mm-hmm.
And I've gotten the finger and everything just like you do.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm laughing at them. I'm like, I'm doing what's right. What am I supposed to do?
Right.
Perfect example of getting the finger. When I was coming home from New York, there was this woman. It was in Pennsylvania on 81.
Right.
It was, I forgot what kind of car it was. It was one of those big, not a Ferrari, like a Porsche type car.
Right.
And she's on her cell phone and doing like Mach 3. And I'm trying to get over and I'm, trying to get out of her way. But she's not paying attention and she's coming closer to my vehicle. And I'm like, lady. And I'm honking the horn and I honk at her and she gives me the finger for her stupidity.
Alrighty then. Well, la-ti-da.
So what I did was I was like, okay, I know two wrongs don't make it right. But on top of that, she cut off. I mean, right in front of me, there was a trucker on the right side.
Right.
So she cuts up me off and get away from me. She cuts off a trucker. So I said, okay, that's it. I've had it with this woman. I, speed up a little bit. She's going down the road. I purposely got in front of her and slow down.
Mm-hmm.
I said, now, how do you like it?
Yeah. There you go. That's how you do it.
You know,
That's how you do it.
another thing is I'll add to this that just drives me insane. Whenever you're going down a 4 to 6 lane highway or more, it's usually on a 4 lane highway is the worst. So that means you've got 2 lanes going one way, 2 lanes going the other way, with a divider in the middle. Okay, just move over to the right if you got a highway patrol or an ambulance or a fire truck just coming up behind you and you know they're coming. I don't know how many people I see that just stop right there, or it's just you don't do that. You continue moving, you slow down, but you continue moving in the right hand lane, allow them to have that hammer lane, which is the far left lane, and that way traffic continues flowing. I don't know.
Yep.
I've almost wound up in several accidents, especially down in Texas, because these people do that. It's a
Right.
no. They don't want you
Right.
to do that. They want you to continue on. Now, if you're
Yeah.
approaching the accident, that's different. But if you're just
Yeah.
allowing them to go on by you, just keep moving, but slow down. Allow them to get by you, and voila, it's that simple.
Exactly.
I think 90% of the problems, especially those we're talking about tonight, 90% of the problems can just be mostly remedied by just slowing down. I mean, that
Mhm.
is right there 90% of the problem. Everybody, and I've even put up stuff about it, so I'm not, I'm not double talking myself, but everybody's so caught up with this. They're trying to limit our speed. They're doing the speed limiters. So what are they trying to make up for something? Are they trying to compensate? I mean, yeah, I mean, whether they speed limit us or not, there is a speed limit on the road anyway. So why these people are balls to the wall makes no sense. You're not getting where you're going any faster by outdoing every Jones on the road. It just makes no sense. And naturally, when we're talking about accident scenes or a cop pulled somebody over or just, you know, weather conditions getting nasty or whatever the case may be, just back it down. It ain't going to last forever. You know, professional drivers know the speed doesn't make a difference anyway. At least that's my take
Nope.
on it, anyhow. When it comes to professional drivers, I had a question earmarked for just this podcast. In your opinion, Frank, what does it mean to be a professional truck driver? And how, I mean, you especially, how do you uphold that standard of professionalism on a daily basis? What does that mean to you, and what does that look like?
Being a professional truck driver is one that takes it up in stride to sit there and be courteous, be confident, constantly alert,
Mhm,
constantly aware of your surroundings.
mhm.
You're constantly attentive to watching what's going on outside the
Yeah,
windshield, your mirrors,
yeah.
even whenever you're doing just small things, just moving around in parking lots. Parking lots are really dangerous, especially at truck stops.
Oh yeah,
Um,
without a doubt. Yeah, parking
you
lots are
know,
actually where more incidents, happen, more interactions actually take place, in parking lots, more so than they do on the road.
mhm,
Because I mean, like right now, I'm at the Loves here in Newton, all right, and there's only maybe a handful of empty spots. You know, at this hour of the night, it's usually jam packed. But I've been seeing truckers going round the parking lot because I'm on the shop side, and they're continually circling because they don't want to be so far. Because this is one that's got the road between the main building and the shops across the road. So you've got to walk like a half a mile to get to the truck stop building. They don't want
mhm.
to be over this side. And of course, there's really very little parking on the other side. So they're circling, they're waiting, you know. So, I mean, when you're doing that, there's an immense amount of interactions between people walking in the parking lot, people actually pulling out of other spots, driving around, So the chances of some interactions being, where you hit somebody or back into somebody are a lot higher. So your point is a valid one, Frank. Very valid. As far as cars are concerned. And you can't really label cars as professional drivers, but with everything that you've seen, what would be your single if you were on a stage in front of millions of people and the topic of safety and professionalism came up and all of a sudden the mic was put in your face, besides freezing and shitting your pants, what would
Oh,
you
thanks.
say? Joking, I'm joking. What would you say would be your single first thought for advice to give to people to actually drive better, be safer, and get home safe?
Number one, put the phone down. Put the tablet down. Put the electronics down.
Mhm,
Put your hands on the steering wheel. Keep your eyes on the road.
mhm,
Because a lot of people, like Frank said, they're not doing that. They're looking down. They're
mhm,
looking at a tablet or a phone or doing their makeup. Put it
mhm.
down.
Yeah,
Put it
yeah,
down.
yeah,
Keep your eyes on the road. 10 and 2.
yep.
You
That's
know?
actually something I don't think they teach in driving school anymore.
They
At
moved it.
least
I
for
think it's
cars
called 3 and 9 now
or
Oh.
something like that. Yeah, whatever.
But,
because of the
But
airbags.
oh,
yeah,
yeah.
actually, you got a point there. I didn't think about that. Yeah, but just the principle of keeping your hands on the wheel by itself means a
Hmm.
lot. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I'm a classic example. I'm a content creator, and I tend to take a lot of footage while I'm driving. And I get a lot of crap from everybody on Facebook. Oh, you shouldn't do that. Okay. First of all, I've got, look at my videos. I've got phone mounts for every single piece, every single position I film from. And I don't, of course, obviously multitask other than one phone going while I'm doing that if I'm going down the road. And it's pointed usually out the road. I don't do the interior footage anymore because it's not part of trucking news. So it's just, even when I vlog, I usually film outside. So, but the idea of doing it safely is top of mind. You know, I've got one for my actual phone, I've got one for the phone I record, and everything else I do when I'm stationary. So while I'm driving, both my hands are on the wheel. My mind is fully focused on the task at hand. And that's what it means to be a professional driver in my book. I
Well,
mean, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Lori.
yeah. Well, like you were saying, for a person behind the wheel of a vehicle, any vehicle, car, truck, ATV, you name it,
Yep.
do what you're supposed to. Keep your eyes on the road.
Hmm.
There's rest areas, there's truck stops. Make the phone call. Do the text while you're at the rest area, the truck stop. In fact, I've seen specific areas where it says, you know, text stop 5 miles on certain
Quite a
highways.
few, quite a few of them in New York State.
Yeah.
They made a big production about getting those out, you know, pretty often and pretty frequent. So they're all over,
Right.
especially 81, 84. Not so many on 95, but most of the rural areas where you're away from, tech stops are a good thing.
Yeah.
A lot in Virginia too. So,
But perfect example that scared the heck out of me, and you were on the phone with me when it happened. When I was coming home from New York, I was on 95, the last stretch of Virginia, almost to North Carolina. And there was a what is that? The telecommunications crew coming down the highway
hmm,
at Mach speed.
I remember,
There were
I
4
remember that.
trucks. They weren't big trucks, they were regular, pickup trucks. 4 of them.
Right.
And the one guy was not paying attention. And I'm on the road, I'm on my side. He never put his signal on, nothing.
Mhm.
Never indicated he was coming over. He
Right.
ran me off the road because he was on his phone. I had the boys in the back seat with me, and I got ran off the road because somebody was not paying attention.
Yep. Too busy with the distractions.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, I'm thankful it was just a little, I got a little dust on the car. Whoop-de-doo. I'm
Yeah.
thankful it was just that. But
No
again,
contact.
if you're going to be behind the wheel of a vehicle, put the freaking technology down.
Yep.
Yeah.
A phone, a message can wait. A phone, a tablet, all that can be replaced. Human lives cannot.
Thank you. Very smart. Very smart way to say that. Yes, they are.
Because, like I said, that guy was on his phone. Thank God he did not contact the car we were in. We did not get into an actual accident. It's like I said, I had both boys in the back seat.
Yeah, that would not have ended well. I think that would have been a very piss poor way of ending his life. I mean, day.
But
yeah.
still, you know, it irks me.
Yeah.
You know, yes, I'm a truck driver's wife, but it irks me to see anybody not
Yeah.
having manners on the road.
Yep.
To anybody.
Well, I'll add that
That's
real
what
quick if you
rules
allow
are
me
for.
to.
Yes.
If you allow me to, real quick, boss man. As
Sure.
as my soapbox deal we was just discussing, this is just a quick preview to give anybody an idea. I once worked in construction on highway, and I was the overnight, basically, as they call it, surveillance. But I was kind of like a maintenance kind of guy. I'd go around, make sure the barrels and all that were in a decent place and weren't ran over and all that. Anyhow, going down through there were truck drivers that would just slide. I mean, especially back then, it was mainly like the FedEx guys, the UPS guys, and they would just zoom past me, and they'd blare their horn at me like nothing ever happened. And you know, I'm just scared to death that I'm going to wind up getting hit. And you know, finally, I wound up having to contact the highway patrol, and they came out and they sat because the speed limit dropped at that time from 75 all the way down to I think 50 or 55 to the work zone. And
Right.
you know, it's anytime you come into a work zone, it doesn't matter if they're working right now or not. Everybody should take the time, slow down, leave them devices alone, pay attention to what you're doing, and above all, try your best to maintain the posted speed limit. If you go over 1 or 2 miles an hour, that's not a great big deal. But when you're driving through there and say the speed limit is 45 and you're doing 55 and 65, that's ridiculous because you're in a hurry.
Yeah. That is considerably unsafe and unnecessary. You know, so
Yep.
Good advice, definitely. And that's a good place to leave it. Let me tell you something. When it comes to safety on the road, I am a believer that it always starts with you. All we do out here every single day is drive from A to B. It's up to you to make it home safe, get the load there in one piece, and live to see another day. So let's do our part every chance we can. Possible to make trucking great again. You know how you do that? You do it one load, 1 mile, and one day at a time. So while you're out there doing just that very thing, remember, guys, it's the trucks that get the loads delivered, but it's you that makes the difference. Catch me tomorrow for Truckin' Frontlines. Become a subscriber, and by all means, look for us with Media Matters. You never know when we're going to show up. Till next time, keep it real, keep the faith, and keep it rolling.